Guys, brace yourself. There's going to be a lot of swearing in this. So let's just jump right in. We're playing F1 2016. We're going to be doing the career mode as promised. Sorry, it's a little bit late. We're going to be doing it on the legend difficulty. So you can just watch me set up my guy. I chose this guy because he looks kind of like the guy from Need for Speed and Mr. Robot. I'll put his name on screen. And we're just going to skip straight through the boring stuff. That's the guy we made. Now, had a bit of a hard time choosing between McLaren and Toro Rosso, but Arava or AA Raver chose McLaren and did a fantastic job with his series there. So we're going to mix it up, go for Toro Rosso. And now we're being introduced to Emma Jenkins, who's going to be our lawyer, advisor, type person. But after what feels like an eternity, she does eventually fuck off. Thank you. You can be gone now, Emma. We'll be seeing you later. Thanks for wishing us good luck and all. There's our new contract we just signed with Toro Rosso. Looking forward to an exciting season ahead. And yeah, just going to jump straight into practice one. Now, the practice have been broken down into three main sections: track acclimatization, tire wear test, and the qualifying runs. And each time you do them, you build up resource points, which can be used to buy better parts for the next races, to improve the car and hopefully be a bit more competitive by the end of the season. Because as you're going to see, our car is goddamn awful to start off with. As well as myself, I am pretty damn terrible. But we're just going to jump to the end of the track acclimatization. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Managed to get 50 out of 50 points. Not that I was doing well at this, as you may have noticed from previous videos. I'm not good at this game yet. And then we jump straight ahead to the tyre wear tests. So the tyre wear tests were very hard to begin with. I could not do them particularly well. I was struggling to beat the lap time whilst saving the tyres, but I got more and more used to it as I did it more and more. So hopefully by the next race we'll do well. However, what I did suck at was the qualifying run, as you can see by my montage of complete and utter fuck-ups. There's one, there's two, there it is. Brace yourself for another one. Oh, lock up. Fuck up. And here's another one. Whoop. And another one. And another one. So here we're introduced to resource points. Again, as I mentioned, you try and build these up over the season. You try and spend them to buy upgrades for the car. You get 500 to start off with. And again, I wasn't too certain what I wanted to purchase with them, but I'll show you the options now. Oh, but first, well, hello, Mr. Chris. Nice to meet you, Chris. Sort off now. So this is what you can spend your resource points on. You can see 5 sections: engine power, fuel efficiency, chassis weight, downforce, and drag. I decided the car's a bit heavy to start off with. I think chassis reducing the weight is the best way to start off. Emma comes back. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of Emma, as you can tell, but she decides to come back and fucking tell us about our new rival, Daniel Kvyat, who also happens to be our teammate. And we're just going to jump straight into the qualifying. So I'd already set down like a safety lap to begin with. So as you can see, I'm about 3 or 4 tenths up on the delta there. But I forgot about one minor thing, one very important thing necessary to run in the car, and that is fuel. I ran out of fuel on the second to last corner, as you can see here, and just decided to bail on the lap. So unfortunately we do start from what it says there's 19th on the grid, but by the end of the session we do start from 20th, which is 2 places away from last, unfortunately. But let's jump right into the race now.
So going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996.
Now, I just want to mention at this point, I am pretty damn awful at this game. And I'm hoping throughout the season I get better and better. You can watch that as well as the car. Now, you can see the numbers there. They're the level of fucked off I get throughout the track. They're not actually the number of corners. Just generally how much the track pisses me off at this point. Like I said, I'm not brilliant at this point yet, but hopefully that will improve with time. So let's run through the starting grid, the top 10. As you know, I'm starting from 20th. We've got Nico Rosberg there on pole with Daniel Ricciardo on second, making up the first row. Vettel qualifying in 5th, or Vettel, as he likes to be called. And strategy. Let's look at the strategy. I decided to do something a little bit different with the strategy, and that is to change what tyres I start on. Decide to start on the soft and then go to the super soft towards the end of the race. Let's see how that pans out for us as we go to the grid and the 5 lights count down. Just before we start though, I need to mention how shit I am at this game and how many times I'm about to fuck up right about now. Whoop! Slide out the back end. Whoop! Slide out the back end there again. So we have a pretty goddamn awful start, but we're making our way towards the first corner. I decided to just dive straight in there. Decided to forget how to speak. And I paid the consequences, unfortunately. So we tuck in nicely there behind Felipe Nasser, who pulls off a bit into the distance. And we decided to just dive straight back in there in the next corner. We meet up with our good old buddy, rival and teammate Daniel Kvyat. He gives us a bit of a knock to let us know what's up. Don't worry, we'll get him back for that shit. Don't you dare, Daniel. Don't you dare. So we're just following Daniel Kvyat at this part of the race, slowly stabilizing as well as my heart rate and generally the pace. Slowing things down, getting into our rhythm as we approach this little chicane. I don't know if we can call it a chicane, but I lose the back end a little bit. Back end of this car sliding out more than Rihanna's back end when she's on stage. But moving our way down to the second chicane, and I think at this point we catch up a little bit to Daniel Kvyat, our teammate. Cut the corner a little bit there. I believe 2 tyres stayed on the track, so I don't think we got a penalty for that. And as we approach this corner, give Daniel Kvyat a little bump up the backside, let him know what's up. We're here and we mean business. And then we come up to the second to last corner, dive down the inside of him, push him out wide, and then go get a nice exit on the last corner to make sure he doesn't come up and challenge us again. And that concludes a very dramatic first lap for us. We've managed to move up into 17th place. So a little bit of a drift there as we go into that corner. But the exit's smooth enough that Daniel Kvyat doesn't really challenge us. It's really narrow at this part of the track in Melbourne, so you don't see too many overtaking manoeuvres unless you're an absolute bandit like me or Pastor Maldonado. So there's a little bit of a move down on Kevin Magnussen. Brake a bit early, but then just release the brake enough to surprise him down the inside, get the move done, get around him. And now that puts us up into 16th place. So this little battle here is happening between Gutierrez and Alonso, but they give us no room. Go off the track there a little bit. I'm looking left, I'm looking right. There is absolutely no way to get around, so we just hold up behind the two. Eventually Alonso gives us a bit of space, then tries to push us out wide, the cheeky cunt, but we managed to get around him anyway, and now we're hunting down Gutierrez. Lock up the tyre a little bit into the chicane, but we're alright. And now this next part of the track is a very, very fast part. Coming up to this chicane, generally you go through about 5th or 6th gear, pull up right up inside Gutierrez, cut up the corner a little bit. That was a little bit cheeky, I confess, but we didn't really make up much time. Gutierrez, as you can see, is a little bit further ahead of us. This corner we do pretty alright, close the gap massively up to Gutierrez, but generally all the cars are travelling a bit slower at this part of the track, so we all sort of close in together. So, last corner now as we come to the pit straight, hopefully hunting Gutierrez down. DRS is wide open. And we're going to absolutely dive down the inside. Cut the corner a little bit. The game doesn't punish us, but I think eventually karma gets us. But we'll use DRS to keep that position. Just looking at the fuel levels and the tyres. And I think this is where karma gets us as we lock the front right, and he pulls in a little bit there, but we show him who's the boss, keep him behind us, and just keep going. Tell Gutierrez to fuck off and be on our way. So, Gutierrez doesn't like that he's being told to fuck off and decides to pull down the inside. We cut out and cut back down the inside. lock up a little bit, but as you can see, Gutierrez locked up massively, pushed him out wide, and we're back into 14th place. Not a bad start to this race. Now, as you may have seen earlier, oh, actually, we've got Kevin Magnussen getting brave now. Magnussen and who's the other car behind him? Verstappen are getting quite cheeky down the inside now, but we managed to keep them at bay. But we're just losing the tyres at this point. So as you may have noticed, we decided to switch up the strategy there, but we had to actually switch it up again by going on to the super softs a little bit earlier than I anticipated. We'll see how that works out in the end. Jump into the pit. Not a bad pit stop by the guys, 2 seconds, actually very, very good pit stop. I didn't notice that in the race. And we pull out just behind Kvyat, I believe. We actually come out fighting somebody. We come out fighting Wehrlein. But he doesn't put up much of a fight. We're on much fresher rubber. And we're able to just dive down the inside of this next corner here. It's a bit of a bandit move, but we managed to squeeze him out, slide the back end out again, and keep him at bay. Now, playing with the fuel mix there, switch it up to rich, so we have a bit of a good outlap, see what we can do. Still cars that are yet to pit, so we want to make the absolute most out of the sort of opportunity that we have. Hopefully, I was hoping that the strategy would allow us to either catch up to the cars that were ahead of us before the pit stop, or maybe leapfrog a few cars whilst they were in the pits. Unfortunately, though, we find out later that is not the case. So, we've got Kevin Magnussen getting brave again down the outside, outbrake him, lock up a little bit, but it's enough to keep us up into 16th place. Our challenge was to beat our teammate, who's in 14th place, so we're trying our absolute best, sliding around everywhere. We're getting into a bit of a fight here with Kevin Magnussen, which is holding us up a little bit, but I get a little bit heavy-footed there on the throttle, and Kevin Magnussen overtakes me on the outside, unfortunately. We lose that place, but we make it back. Now, we did cut the corner. The game doesn't prompt me to give the place back, but I understand the rules of Formula 1. I'm not willing to take that move back under those circumstances. So I give the place back to Kevin Magnussen and do absolutely everything in my power to chase him down. But no matter what I do, unfortunately, I'm unable to catch him. As you can see, we've skipped to the last lap. Kevin Magnussen's still ahead of us. Managed to try and maintain the gap, but he does pull out a bit of a lead on us. Car's feeling a bit slidey, and we just don't manage to get the move done. We're going to have to settle for 17th place in this race. Now guys, hopefully you enjoyed this series. This series? Barely started the series, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date. And hopefully I will be improving with this series. I am playing the game a lot, hoping to improve, and hopefully by the end of it we'll be challenging for perhaps some points positions, maybe even a podium if we get ridiculously lucky, but let's not push it that far. Yeah, an unfortunate 17th position there. Hopefully we'll be improving on that in the next race. I'll try and get some practice in between that. But guys, I'm Sam, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Cheers.